We need to talk about this PSA that Epstein survivors released on Super Bowl Sunday, calling out Attorney General Pam Bondi's handling of the files. Because it starts with text noting that even months after the Epstein Files Transparency Act was passed, 3 million files still haven't been released to the public. And with redactions then covering the faces of survivors, they say,
after years of being kept apart, we're standing together.
Standing together.
Because this girl deserves the truth.
Because she deserves the truth.
Because we all deserve the truth.
With it then ending with text urging the viewers to demand that Bondi just tell the truth. And so these women, they made this ad with the help of World Without Exploitation, which also has a petition in support of the survivors right now. And while some reports suggest that it did air in some markets, others say that it was primarily intended to be a digital ad that capitalized on the attention of the Super Bowl. Right, and with that, you had tons of politicians sharing it, saying that it was the most important ad of the day. And also I'll say it comes at a crucial time because starting this week, members of Congress can review the Epstein files unredacted. The files will be made available on computers in a room at the DOJ building, and while lawmakers cannot bring electronics into the room, they are allowed to take notes on what they see. And so you've got Representatives Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna going today, with Massie actually asking Americans which files he should prioritize. And among the top responses, you have one file where a redacted email address tells Epstein, "Thank you for a fun night. Your littlest girl was a little naughty." As well as another email from a redacted address mentioning a torture video and an FBI intake sheet referencing a child's body being buried in New Mexico. And so we're gonna have to wait to see what lawmakers end up saying after viewing the files, if it leads to another push for everything else to be released, and if any major questions actually get answered. Because today, Ghislaine Maxwell was supposed to answer some of those big questions, but gave us nothing. She had a virtual deposition with the House Oversight Committee and ended up pleading the fifth on every single ask. So technically, I guess it is still possible that she might answer questions in the future, though she has one major condition, with her lawyer saying Mrs. Maxwell is prepared to speak fully and honestly if granted clemency by President Trump. And even saying that Maxwell would provide testimony claiming that both Trump and former President Bill Clinton are innocent of any wrongdoing. That demand, it's outraged a lot of lawmakers who said that she must immediately be sent back to the maximum security prison where she belongs. You also had others pivoting blame to Donald Trump for not concretely ruling out a pardon for Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell should have no hope of ever getting out of prison. She is campaigning over and over again to get that pardon from President Trump. And this president has not ruled it out. And so that is why she's continuing to not cooperate with our investigation.
This was an effort to essentially try to secure her pardon by keeping her mouth shut.
President Trump could end that today. He could rule out clemency for Ghislaine Maxwell, the monster. He could rule out a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell, the monster. The question for all of us today is, why hasn't he done that, and why won't he do that?
But also I'll add, if you think the Epstein files are creating any sort of political mess over here, you should see what's happening in the UK. We talked a little about this before. Ambassador Peter Mandelson resigned from the Labour Party and House of Lords after portions of the files suggested that he gave Epstein confidential information about the government and economy while in office. And among other things, that's created a major headache for Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Starmer's chief of staff just resigned for having a part in appointing Mandelson to an ambassadorship, saying the decision to appoint Peter Mandelson was wrong. He has damaged our party, our country, and trust in politics itself, saying I advise the Prime Minister to make that appointment and I take full responsibility for that advice. But also there's a ton of pressure for Keir Starmer himself to resign, and it's unclear if his chief of staff's move is going to help him at all. That said, Starmer has tried to address the controversy himself, apologizing to victims, saying, I am sorry for what was done to you, sorry that so many people with power failed you, sorry for having believed Mandelson's lies and appointed him. But still, you have people, including people in his own party, that want him out. Also in the UK, former Prince Andrew's embroiled in even more scandals in the files, because police are investigating claims that he also gave confidential information to Epstein, which I do have to say, as an American, it is amazing to watch a country take these allegations seriously, because, our president, he's implicated in incredibly disturbing parts of the files, and the odds of him resigning or face any sort of crumb of consequence, they're slim to zero at this point.